Taurus, beloved soul of the earth, tell me, have you ever felt a whisper echoing in the corners of your being? A sensation so subtle, yet so persistent that you knew something was coming. Not just any something, but something big. A calling that doesn't shout, but vibrates through your chest like an ancient bell, ringing from the core of your destiny. That call is for you. This isn't merely a reading. It is a divine invocation, wrapped in silence and sent by the hands of the universe to knock gently on your soul. If these words have found you now, it is not chance. This is the moment your future begins to take shape, not in your mind, but in your energy, in your truth. Under the cosmic sky of May 2025, Jupiter aligns with Uranus in your very own sign, Taurus. This is no ordinary transit. This is a celestial awakening. It is the universe placing a hand on your shoulder and saying, now. It is the arrival of an unexpected opportunity, a twist of fate, a message that breaks routine and calls you into motion. The ground beneath you is shifting, but not to break you, to free you. The cards speak with power. I see perseverance, yes. That quiet strength you carry, the one that endures, builds, waits. But I also see something unfinished, a cycle left hanging in the air like a sentence without an ending. Something in your life demands closure, not because you failed, but because your soul is ready for the next step and cannot carry old weights through a new door. And then, suddenly, a call, not just any call, a voice from the past or a message from the beyond. It may come in the form of a literal phone call, a letter, a dream, or even a thought so vivid it feels like someone spoke directly into your heart. This is not nostalgia. This is a reconnection with something sacred, a memory, a person, a version of you that was waiting to return, not to repeat, but to be healed. And this is where I ask you to pause. If this message is already stirring something within your soul, subscribe and share your heart in the comments below. This space was created for moments like this, where silence meets recognition and strangers become mirrors of one another's journey. Now back to what the universe is whispering. The presence of Pluto retrograding in Aquarius amplifies the intensity of what you are about to feel. This is emotional excavation. A truth buried deep within your history begins to rise, not to haunt you, but to release you. What no longer fits your spirit must be acknowledged. Because, Taurus, you weren't born to carry what others refuse to let go of. And here's what moves me most. Your energy is transforming from the inside out. You are not just leaving behind a chapter. You are being reborn into a frequency that matches your deepest longings. This isn't the kind of change you plan. It's the kind that your soul has orchestrated in secret for years. You've outgrown a version of yourself, and now the old must dissolve so the authentic can rise. There will be invitations to revisit old relationships, old ideas, even old roles you used to play. But this time, you choose differently, not from fear, from clarity. And if your heart is still tender from what you've released, know this: the universe is already preparing the answer, not a replacement, a resonance. What's coming next does not demand you shrink. It arrives to meet you where you are, whole, raw, real. Taurus, the road you're walking is not one of chaos, though at times it may have felt that way. What you are living is sacred realignment, a reorganization of your reality by forces far older, far wiser than your conscious plans. You've asked for change, quietly, maybe even unconsciously, but the universe heard your soul long before you had the words to ask. Now, as the full moon rises in Sagittarius on May 23rd, the truth that has long been whispered becomes visible. This lunation is a cosmic spotlight, illuminating the spaces within you where you've been hiding from your own expansion. It brings clarity, it brings revelation, and for you, Taurus, it brings release. Release from the expectations that no longer fit. Release from roles that never truly nourished you. Release from the guilt of wanting something different, something more. The cards show me the return of a conversation long overdue. Someone from your past, or a version of yourself that you've silenced, is about to speak. This isn't about romanticizing what once was. This is about completing what was left incomplete, but from a place of empowerment. Perhaps you've carried the weight of unanswered questions. Perhaps you've lived with the tension of stories that ended mid-chapter, but now life is offering you something rare, the opportunity to respond, not from pain, but from peace. And as this unfolds, you begin to realize that what felt like stagnation was actually incubation. You weren't stuck, you were rooting deeper than ever before. So when the wind of change comes, you won't break, you'll rise. The presence of Mars in Aries this month adds a spark to your usually deliberate pace. It may feel like urgency, even restlessness, but don't confuse movement with progress. You are being asked to act from alignment, not from anxiety. Your strength lies in your ability to wait for the right moment. And Taurus, it's arriving. This is also a powerful time for your creativity, whether through art, writing, music, or simply dreaming again. Something in you wants to express itself freely, wildly, without apology. Don't ignore that urge. It's the language your soul uses to heal. I also see signs of connection, meaningful ones. New people entering your life not as distractions, but as mirrors. They'll reflect the growth you've achieved. You won't have to explain who you are or defend your path. They'll see you, and in that recognition, healing will multiply. This is not the time to shrink, not the time to play small, not the time to pretend you're okay with what no longer satisfies you. This is your season of awakening. Taurus, if you've made it this far, it means you've felt it. Not just heard it, not just understood it, but felt it. A truth quietly unraveling itself within your chest. There is something sacred taking shape inside you, and it's far greater than any plan you've tried to draw with logic or safety. This is the part of your journey where the soul begins to speak louder than the mind. And that voice, Taurus, is not soft anymore. It's clear, ancient, and steady. It says, you can't go back, and you don't need to. The cards now open like a window into your inner sanctum. What they reveal is not a prophecy of grand events, but of deep internal alignment. They show a version of you finally daring to question. What if the life I've been told to accept isn't the one I came here to live? What if I'm allowed to want more, not out of greed, but out of self-recognition? These questions aren't rhetorical, they are catalysts. And they arrive just as Pluto retrograde in Aquarius challenges the way you've structured your sense of belonging. The old foundations, relationships, identities, dreams built on should rather than want, begin to crumble not to punish you, but to set you free. Taurus, you are a builder by nature. You construct safety, you cultivate beauty, you carry the sacred duty of holding space for others. But what happens when your hands are full of what no longer feeds your soul? The answer appears in your cards as a sacred invitation to drop the weight. Not recklessly, but deliberately. Not in rebellion, but in revelation. What is too heavy for the person you are becoming must now be laid down. And I see clearly, this isn't only about letting go of people or jobs. No, this is deeper. You're releasing outdated versions of yourself. Roles you took on because you were needed, not because you were nourished. Narratives you inherited but never questioned. It's time to look in the mirror and say, I am not who I was, and that's okay. This journey you're on, Taurus, is not linear. There will be echoes from the past, voices, places, even long-forgotten dreams that rise again not to confuse you, but to ask, have you truly let me go? Or am I still living in the background of your silence? It's not always about closure. Sometimes it's about honest acknowledgement, and you are ready to speak truths you've swallowed for years, ready to break patterns passed down like heirlooms of fear, ready to live as if your peace matters, because it does. Now, let me speak of something tender. The energy around you is not only shifting, it's being watched. I see the presence of someone who still thinks of you, perhaps with regret, perhaps with longing. Someone who once held a chapter in your life and now lingers as a memory unresolved. They may be silent, but the thread isn't fully cut. Yet here's the key. You do not need their apology to heal. You do not need a return to validate your growth. Your healing is not contingent on anyone else catching up. You are the closure you've been waiting for, and your decision to move forward, clean, free, empowered, is the spell that breaks the loop. The cards now shift again, showing a surge of personal power, not loud, not performative. It is the quiet strength of someone who no longer begs to be chosen, because they have finally chosen themselves. And here, as we reach the heart of this transformation, I see something beautiful. You reclaiming joy, not the fleeting kind, but the steady joy that comes from living in alignment. You'll find yourself smiling at small things again, wanting to dance, to create, to reconnect with parts of yourself that were left behind for the sake of survival. Taurus, this is a resurrection. Your space, your physical home, your emotional landscape is becoming sacred ground. You may feel the urge to cleanse, to redecorate, to change your scent, your style, your habits. Don't dismiss this. It's your soul declaring, "We are new now." Make room, burn the incense. Open the windows. Let the old dust leave with gratitude. And while you do this, your creativity stirs. You may begin to write again, sing, draw, paint, plant, whatever your spirit has been thirsting for. This expression is not about impressing others. It's about reminding yourself that you are alive and worthy of feeling joy without justification. The transformation you are undergoing is not to be rushed. You are becoming soil for something extraordinary to grow. Trust this season of becoming. Trust the call. Trust yourself. Because Taurus, the most powerful chapter of your life, begins the moment you stop asking for permission to bloom. Taurus, we have reached a sacred bend in your path, the place where intention meets manifestation, and the invisible forces you've been feeling begin to take visible form. This is not the climax of your story, but the beginning of your embodiment. What was once only a longing is now stretching into reality. The cards continue to unveil a narrative of reclamation and movement. I see a Taurus who is no longer questioning whether they deserve peace, but instead claiming it unapologetically. You are becoming fluent in your own worth, and that language is rewriting the energy you attract. And it's no surprise. This shift aligns with the current passage of Venus through Gemini. Your ruling planet, now dressed in the attire of curiosity, connection, and expression, invites you to open your channels of communication, not only with others, but with yourself. You're learning to tell yourself the truth without judgment, without fear. This is the time to speak your needs, to explore your desires, to question every space where you once bit your tongue. Because this version of you, this evolving Taurus, does not bend to be palatable. They rise to be real, and with that authenticity, new relationships bloom. Not all will be romantic, though one, in particular, feels fated, but every connection that enters now will serve a purpose. Some will reflect your light back to you, others will help you see what you still hide, but none of them will leave you untouched. You are magnetic, Taurus, not for what you do, but for who you've dared to become. Your heart is also healing. There's no drama in it, no cinematic tears, just quiet forgiveness unfolding like petals. For yourself, for others, for the way things had to fall apart before they could align. This is what freedom looks like, not loud, just present. And still, life asks for more. There's a decision rising in your chest, one you've delayed, one you've circled with hesitation. Maybe it's about work, maybe it's about love, maybe it's about finally letting go of something that was never truly yours. But the time for delay has passed. Your soul is craving congruence. So here's the truth. You can no longer live in environments where your spirit cannot breathe, not for comfort, not for history, not for fear. You need space that matches your frequency, not your old stories. I see changes coming. You might be guided toward a new home, a new city, a different way of working. You might feel the call to simplify, to release clutter, both physical and emotional. Listen to that. It is your future self making room for what it knows you're ready to receive. And yes, someone from the past may try to return, a ghost knocking with soft regret. But you'll notice something different this time. You no longer need what once had power over you. Your healing no longer depends on their validation. Your closure came from within. This is your power now. Peaceful boundaries, clear no's, sacred yeses. You are no longer available for dynamics that make you question your value. You've shed too much skin to go back into a life that doesn't fit. And what I love most, Taurus, is this quiet confidence building in your energy. You no longer seek to prove, you simply are. That is divine maturity. That is spiritual sovereignty. That is the strength of someone who has walked through fire and chosen not to burn, but to glow. Let the world adjust to your radiance. Let the right ones find you in your truth. Let the old systems fall away. Because this Taurus, this one is not afraid of their own light anymore. Taurus, we've walked far together, through silence, through shadow, through moments of quiet revelation. And now, as we approach the threshold of what's to come, I want you to pause and breathe in the truth that has been forming beneath every word. You are no longer who you once were, and thank goodness for that. You see, the final card that turns in your reading is not a warning, nor a reminder of what was. It is a doorway. It is the Ace of Pentacles, your element, your domain. It is the sacred seed planted deep in the soil of your soul. And now the sun finally touches it. This is not just a new opportunity. It is a divine beginning, tangible, grounded, meant for you. And here's the mystery. That call you've been sensing, it wasn't just an event, it wasn't just a phone call or a message. That call was your own soul reaching out from the future, beckoning you home. It's what pulled you through every ending, every goodbye, every moment of doubt. It was you, the you that is finally ready to rise. This final part of your reading is not about preparing for more. It's about learning how to receive what you've already earned. Taurus, you've given so much. You've stayed when others left. You've listened when your own heart was breaking. You've been the calm in the storm, not because it was easy, but because it was needed. And now the universe returns the favor. As Mercury moves direct in Gemini, your inner clarity sharpens. You'll notice you're no longer doubting your instincts. Conversations flow, answers come. Decisions become effortless. This is the reward of alignment, when the outer world finally reflects the inner knowing you've been cultivating in secret. I also see financial growth, not just as a blessing, but as a reflection of your self-worth. You're no longer willing to settle, not in love, not in purpose, not in how you are valued. And that vibration, it attracts abundance without struggle. Expect small miracles. A door opens that once felt locked. A person shows up exactly when you need them. A yes arrives after a long season of maybes. And with all of this movement, one truth remains. Your peace is your priority now. You'll find yourself walking away from what once consumed you, not with anger, with love, with closure, because you now understand that not everything lost is a loss. Some things exit because your soul outgrew their frequency. You are a new garden now, Taurus, and only what is rooted in truth can grow in your soil. And as this chapter ends, not with finality but with expansion, I leave you with this decree, born from everything you've survived, released, and reclaimed. Write this decree in the comments and let it echo through the universe. I trust the call within me. I'm no longer waiting, I'm receiving. Say it out loud, write it, feel it, because the moment you choose to believe it, the entire cosmos rearranges itself to meet you there. Your new life isn't coming, it has already begun. Let it unfold, let it bless you, let it be everything you never dared to ask for until now, and so it is. If this reading touched something sacred inside you, subscribe and leave your decree in the comments. Let the universe know you're ready, you're awake, and you're open to receive all that is meant for you.